So we're talking there's going to be 6 kinds. By the way, there's a whole bunch of different other chemical reactions as well, but the 6 we're looking at here in Science 10, this is the first one. Combining 2 elements into one compound. We called this synthesis, which, Cameron, we said, I mean, it's a long word, but to synthesize something means to make something. At least it's a word that I've seen before. Yo, synth, I spelled that totally wrong. Good gosh. This is why I use abbreviations, now you know. Syn, and then thesis. Then, Julia, we said you could have, by the way, an example of this we said in the notes was something like, combining sodium and chloride to get sodium chloride, but wait, to balance, and crisscross. Then we said there was the opposite, breaking up. You could have 2 elements that were combined in a compound, and if you break them up back into their original parts, what did we call this one? And this also had a name that made sense, thankfully. Decomposition. That one kids almost always remember pretty good. Decomposition. Then what? Well, we had 2 types of replacement reactions. We had this one. Suppose you have an element all by itself and a compound, and that first element knocks out one of the other elements. Okay? We call that single replacement. Julia, you with me? Stay with me. This is like, hey, you're going out on a date and you see someone nicer across the hall and you end up going home from the dance or going off with them, okay? Or, then there's the even creepier one, the double date. A is combined with B. C is combined with D. And the 2 metals swap partners, because the metal has to combine with a non-metal and the metal has to combine with a non-metal. So you end up with AD plus CB. That's not a single replacement. We call that a and again, Taylor, have I done my naming rant in this class? I know I did in science now. I've done it here. Like some of the names they use in biology drive me crazy. Here in chemistry, at least these names make sense to me. They could have put easier words as well, like swap instead of replace. But at least double replacement, two compounds, that makes sense. 2 elements, that makes sense. The 5th one was technically review from last unit. Now, acid was H something, plus base was something else, OH. What did we get here? Rylan, you had this last time. Salt and H2O. What did we call that one? And that's where we left off. I got one more to show you. It's combustion, it's burning. I'll do a couple of examples. And then what I have are 2 sheets, and I'm sorry, each of them has like 20 questions each, where it's what type of reaction? Balance, predict the products. What type of reaction? Balance, predict the products. If you get that, that's about 70% of the test. You're already almost at a B. Okay? So you ready? Notes where we left off. We got to pause here. Combustion. 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 So, figure out where we are, right? Back of one page, I think, or whatever. Got where we are? Combustion, that's the fancy word for burning, but we're talking about a very, very, very specific type of burning something. It's when you combine a hydrocarbon. Hey, what two elements would be in a hydrocarbon? hydrogen and carbon, with oxygen. And this, Tyler, explains why you need oxygen for something to burn, because this is the chemical reaction that's going on. And you always get, this also explains global warming, when you burn gasoline, when you burn wood, when you burn anything, you get, hey, what's one of the global warming gases that we're worried about? CO2, carbon dioxide. And Rylan, this is your cue again. The second thing is the same as neutralization, the second compound. Water. Really, Mr. Dueck? You get water? Now, yeah, you don't notice it outside that much, but if you try, for example, burning a candle in a fairly closed space, you will notice some condensation appear or occur somewhere too. It's always the same products. CO2 and H2O. The hard part is recognizing the hydrocarbon and, honestly, balancing the equation. You may have noticed, Rachel, actually, when it comes to balancing equations, often the more there is, the uglier they look, the easier they go, because there's probably more than one way to get there. I find these ones tough because you got carbons and hydrogens and not much to... It looks something like this. Now, this is a hydrocarbon. Actually, this is a special kind of a hydrocarbon. Who can tell me what we call a compound that has a carbon, a hydrogen, and an oxygen in it? It's an alcohol, some type of alcohol. What type of alcohol? It depends what number is sitting where the X and the Y and the Z is. We looked at those last unit. So we have alcohols and water, and oxygen. You're going to get CO2 and water. This one is not balanced, Sage, because I didn't give you the actual numbers on the left-hand side. I put an X and a Y and a Z. But here is a specific example. This is not an alcohol. Who remembers what CH4 was? It's methane. Okay? So when you burn methane and oxygen, you get carbon dioxide and water. Methane plus oxygen, carbon dioxide and water. Oh! Balance this. Now, those of you that were away last day, I said, Rach, what we're going to try and start to do in our notes is see if we can balance these without doing the full list of everything. And Andrea, on a test, I still use the list approach, but it's nice if I can get faster at this. So let me zoom in. And let's see if we can balance this. How many carbons are there on the left-hand side? I was going to say 4 or 1, and you made the sloppy mistake, but you caught yourself. Everyone's so 1. Alex, how many carbons on the right-hand side? 1. Okay, carbons, check. I generally save the oxygens for last. The reason is, do you notice on the right-hand side, oxygen is in more than one location? That's going to make it yuckier. So next, let's do the hydrogens. Alex, keep going. How many H's on the left? How can I fix that? And remember, when you're balancing equations, Joseph, you're not allowed to add you can't change the subscripts because those were figured out by using the crisscross rule. Pardon me? Good. What am I going to put in front of the H2O?
Okay, so we're going to H2O, you're going to put 2.
Totally agree.
And then how we got that 4, and then wait, where's that? Just put 2 in front of the O on the other side.
There you go. Right? I got 4 oxygens on the left. I got 4 oxygens spread out on the right. 4 hydrogens on the left, 4 hydrogens on the right. They do get tougher, unfortunately. On your test, I'll give you probably 1 easy, 1 middle of the road. I might give you 1 nasty, but I find these difficult. But this is what happens. This is burning alcohol. Okay. Practice problems. It says complete and balance the following. I'm going to pass on that because I'm going to be giving you a bunch to practice today in class. Instead, classify. So this is going to be part of your test. On part of your test, I'm going to give you a bunch of chemical reactions, and I'm going to say, don't bother balancing. Just tell me what they are. And we decided we're going to use certain abbreviations. What abbreviation did we decide we're going to use for synthesis? S. What are we going to use for decomposition? D. And then we said, oh crap, single replacement, I can't use S, so what did we decide instead? SR, right? Capital S, capital R. And double replacement, I can't use D because it's taken already. What did we decide instead? DR, doctor? Oh, yeah, very nice. And then N for neutralization. Hey, what would be a good abbreviation to use for combustion? Okay. I'll take those. On the provincial, they won't accept that, but I think the provincial is all multiple choice anyways, so who cares? All right. That first one. Now, part of doing these Tyra, I find that helps is a process of elimination. 2A, that's not combustion. I can tell you that right now because there's no hydrocarbons or oxygen or anything like that. What's that one? Let's see. I have calcium combined with the NO3, and then later on, calcium is combined with the PO4. I have sodium combined with the PO4, and on the right-hand side, it's paired up with the NO3. Duncan, what'd you say?
Double replacement.
I think this is a doctor. Double replacement. You okay with that, Rach? What about the next one? Ooh. I started to think it was double replacement because technically a neutralization, Andrea, is a double replacement, but this is a special category. I saw the OH, ding, 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 ding. I started thinking maybe that was a base. I saw the H, oh, it is an acid. I checked on the right-hand side. Ryland, is the right-hand side a salt plus water?
Yep.
Which of those is the salt?
CaSO4.
Which would be calcium SO4, sulfate, whatever SO4 is. I can never remember the stupid thing. Okay, yeah, neutralization. C. Combustions are easy to spot, hard to balance. You can see if you were balancing this one, you got a 2 and a 15 and a 12. You'd be kind of hopscotching around for a while. This is a combustion. D. Oh, this is synthesis. E. Okay, also combustion. By the way, for combustion, Matt, I glance at that side. Carbon dioxide, water, it's combustion. Then I go double check on the left-hand side to make sure it's oxygen and a hydrocarbon, either a CH or a CHO. Could be alcohol, could be a gasoline, or whatever. I took the practice problems from page 265 and I typed them up here. So what you're going to do is predict the product and come up with the type. Now, how do you predict the product? Honestly, figure out the type first. So look at number 1. What must number 1 be? What type must that be? And I'm only giving the left-hand side now, I know. Is it combustion? No. What? I think it's a decomposition, which means it's going to break down into iron and why is that wrong? Mr. Hofbrinkel, and now you'll have to balance it. Okay? Tyra, does that make sense? You're looking a little... You have to identify what kind it is first, and I'm making it tougher. I'm only giving you the left-hand side. So you got to say, what can't it be? What might it be? And then now that you know what type of reaction it is, predict what the products will look like based on the patterns of single replacement, double replacement, synthesis, decomposition, and all that. It's tricky, but it's doable.
You said not to do 5?
Okay? You can try 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time I said don't do 5. You can do 5 now. 6 and 7. I've summarized it all here. There's your patterns. And then I have 2 sheets, and I'm going to shut up. Probably Monday you can expect a take-home quiz. So what 2 sheets? The fundamental absolute skill that I would like all of you to try to get, and this requires the memorization, you've got to be able to recognize these 6 reactions. It's some memorization, but I think I found 2 years ago when I taught this. By practicing this many, almost all the kids by the end of the day could classify. Now, balancing, we've been practicing that all year, and that's a process. What's your homework? So can you look at 6.1 homework? I did include the answers, which is why it's so thick. So homework, certainly you can try number 1, and they've given you the products, page 1. This is homework here, and balance. Okay? Check your answers. Psst. Stay with me a little longer. Turn the page. Yeah, there's more. Okay? Guys, can you hang on and sit down, Alex? I need you guys here. That's 30 questions. That's a lot. I want to encourage you, and this is going to a comment Sage made. Sage, if you just write the answers because you're dumb enough to copy, you'll get away with it because, Sage, I want to encourage you, like Alex was trying to do early, try and balance these somewhat in your head showing no work. You don't have to. You can make our little list, but if you can reach the point where you can kind of balance these by doing rough numbers and crossing them and just getting it done, awesome. I free you up for that. At the beginning of the year, I always make sure kids show work. Now I'm saying go ahead. Now I realize because I gave you the answers, you can just copy. Don't, please. But if you get that good, honestly, 30 questions can be done in about 8 minutes if you get that good. Okay. Then I attach the answers.
So Mr. Dueck, are you calling me good?
I'm calling you better than average.
Nice.
Word equations, these are tougher. Now, instead of giving you the symbols, you've got to look up magnesium, you've got to look up sulfur, you've got to crisscross and all that stuff. Let me see how many of these there are. Okay, there's 20. Here's what I'm going to say here. Can you write at the top, do odd numbers? Do 1, 3, 5, 7, do 10 of those. In fact, you know what? Tell you what. Let's go back here, and on this page, I'm also going to say, but here's the condition. I'll let you do the odd numbers as long as you check your answers, and if you're getting them wrong, try the even ones for more practice. Figure what you're doing. Okay? So odd numbers, 15 of those. Cameron, leave the sink alone. It wrecks the sink. Thank you. And for these 10 questions, these 20 questions, odd numbers. The word ones are tough. Are tough. But I did attach the answers. Predicting the products. So here, this is the final section where it's predict the products by figuring out what it is. So H2O, what's this one? What kind of reaction does that have to be? I don't have many options. It's got to be a decomposition because there's nothing else to combine it with. So the products are going to be H2 plus O2 balance. See if you can handle, I'm going to be mean, all of these ones, I think. But I think I'm going to say you can pass number 2. I did attach the answers. And then these ones are all good. It's multiple choice and good practice. That's the first sheet. The first sheet, yeah. Second one, classifying. Okay? Classify all of them, but balance the odd numbers. I think I have an answer key for this. I didn't attach it. If I don't have an answer key, I'll make one up this weekend and put it online. Okay, so for this one, yeah, there's a lot of them again. There's like 36 of them. Classify all of them because I want you to get good at the classifying. Balance the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5. Again, if you're still struggling with balancing and you want more practice, you can do the even ones for more practice. Any questions? Also, you can hand in any other missing NHIs and stuff, but the rest of the class, I think, is yours.